Jesus Christ according to Matthew.
Glory to you, Lord Christ.
Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have come not to abolish, but to fulfill. For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away, not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is accomplished. Therefore, whoever breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does them and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. The gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Christ.
The law. Maybe another way of thinking about what the law is what guides the status quo, what guides just kind of the way that things are on the surface of things. And we hear Jesus teaching in Matthew to people who are wondering about this, especially those Jewish followers of Jesus. How are we to think about our identity as followers of the laws and ordinance of Israel? Well, I think that Jesus is doing what Jesus often does. He says it's kind of a both-and situation rather than an either-or situation. Those laws are good in and of themselves, but with Jesus, a fulfillment of the law and also of what the prophets were foretelling has come to be among them. And so it is both a good thing for us to, for example, and if you're in my Inquirers class, we'll talk some about it, to observe the 10 Commandments, all right? But as we know currently, that it is not necessary for us as followers of Jesus to abstain from eating shrimp although I'm not a good example, trim our beards was also against that law. Some of the laws and ordinances. Those, just a quick piece of teaching, many of those things were so that this scattered people could find each other in the world and be known by the way that they observe customs and laws and ordinances. So Jesus is a new revelation and always pushes us to wonder what that means for us. In the season of Lent, we're looking forward to an Easter time where part of our discipline, and we've touched on this a few times in here and on Sundays, part of our discipline is to be thinking about those things in us that need to be made new, right? While also lifting up and nurturing those things in us that are helping us live mightily in God's love. There's a fulfillment in our own journey. There's a new creation happening on the other side of this Lenten journey. There's hopefully a new way of being in the status quo. Something that pushes us beyond where we are currently to where God is calling us to be in the season of Easter, in the light of the resurrection, and the fulfillment of the prophets. I personally don't love laws or rules. I don't know if y'all ever knew that about me. It's never been a thing that I intuitively appreciated. I always pushed against the status quo. And I do believe that there is some gospel witness of Jesus pushing against the status quo as well. But one of the things in my childishness that I did more was I just pushed against it to be pushing against it. All right? I believe that we who follow Jesus in the way that we do are called to push against status quo, not with our obstinance, right? Not with our selfishness, not with our anger, not with our fear, but always with love. So consider these thoughts as ways to perhaps enrich where you are in your Lenten journey. And Lord, will Easter ever get here? It's such a late Easter. I'm ready for it. Consider this as a way to maybe deepen where you are. Think about your relationship with the status quo, the way some of the rules and ordinances that govern you as a person might be holding you back from being more bold about doing God's love with your neighbor and with yourself, and also with your devotion to God and trust in God. Amen.